Good evening to all.
Good evening, sir.
So we had discussion over rocks and we have covered igneous rock. No? In the last class we have covered igneous rock. Let's begin the next topic, and it is sedimentary rock. Sedimentary and metamorphic is left. So let's take up one by one. So we are going to discuss about secondary rocks. Secondary rocks, and among secondary rock, we have sedimentary rock first. So sedimentary rock, on the 75% earth surface is covered by sediment. 75% of the earth surface is covered by sedimentary rock, and 90% of the earth crust is made up of primary rock, igneous rock. And if we talk about the total contribution of secondary rock contribute 10% of the earth crust. So entire earth crust has 10% of secondary rock, 5% belongs to sedimentary, and 5% metamorphic. While 90% is what? Igneous rock. ये तो पढ़ चुके थे. But what about the earth surface? The upper layer of the earth crust. 75% of this is covered by this sedimentary rock. Okay. Sedimentary rock. The term sedimentary comes from the word sedimentum. Sedimentum, a Greek word that means to be arranged, or to get settled. To get settled. This is the meaning of sedimentum. In the words of P.G. Worcester, sometimes we have to give the names of geographers. P.G. Worcester in 1948. Sedimentary rocks are composed of fragments of primary rocks. Fragments of primary rocks arranged in layer. It's composed of fragments of primary rock, and these fragments are arranged in layer. That's why sedimentary rocks are also called as stratified rock. Sedimentary rocks are also called as stratified rock. Sedimentary rock contains fossils. contain fossils. Hence, they are called as fossiliferous. Fossiliferous. It contains fossils. They are the pages of geological history. They talks about flora and fauna of the time. They talks about flora and fauna of that time. They talks about the climate, prevailing climate, and they also talk about the erosional agent active at the time of formation of sediment. So it's a pages of geological history. Okay. Pages of geological history. So let me explain the process of formation. So there will be an igneous rock, which is nothing but solidification of magma, which is also called as primary rock, parent rock. This is igneous rock. And this igneous rock on the Earth's surface visited by exogenetic forces. And under the influence of exogenetic forces, these igneous rock get disintegrated and there is formation of small fine sediments. These are the fragments of the rock which we call sediment. So there is a process that involves of disintegration of rock, may be weathering or erosion. Weathering is a static disintegration while erosion is a dynamic disintegration, but ultimately sediment is being formed. Now this sediment get transported and get deposited in a shallow water region. So there must be a shallow water region. It may be lake, it may be ocean, it may be glacial lake or anything, but certainly there should be a shallow water region and there is transportation that takes place. Transportation. And the transporting material coming over there. And obviously, there will be vegetation cover, forest area through which this transportation takes place. Suppose that there is a water, a river, flooded water, flooded river will certainly take these vegetation with them. And ultimately, there is deposition that takes place. Deposition. And these sediment get deposited over here. And once the sediment get deposited, it get compacted, it gets cemented and lithified. And there is lithification. So you'll find there is a lithification, and in this rock, you will find there is a trapped biological system, which is trapped inside and get fossilized. And this is what representing a layer L1. So there is weathering, erosion, transportation, deposition, lithification, and fossilization. Suppose that after some time there is another rock that erupted, and it is slightly different igneous rock. There is some change of environment, and obviously there will be some change in the sediment. Sediment will be changed. And maybe the climate is also getting changed, so vegetation can be changed. And there is another layer of the sediment that get deposited over here. Another layer of sediment deposition. And maybe possible that there is another type of flora as well as fauna in this layer. And similarly, there are many such layers that is going to be deposited over here and get lithified. And here we have different types of flora and fauna that get fossilized. Maybe this fossilization takes place, maybe not. But the thing is, sedimentary rock contains fossils. So we happen to have three layers like L1, L2, and L3. And these lithified rocks are called as sedimentary. Here the sediments get arranged in form of different layer. And each layer tells the story of its time. It contains fossils also. And these fossils can tell the type of climate prevailing over there. Suppose that if you get a burial of rainforest, the fossil is representing rainforest. So it is but obvious the agent was water. And not only water, the climate was having lot of rain. Suppose that fossil is xerophyte. Xerophyte, if the fossil is xerophyte, then what happens? Certainly the climate is dry. There was a dry climate. Fine. There was a dry climate. Okay. Xerophyte. And due to xerophyte, we can have the understanding that dry climate. Or dry climate hoga bachche, to wind will be the prominent agent. Wind will be the agent. That means on the very study of these fossils as well as rocks, we can have the understanding of geological past. Geological past can be reconstructed. And that's why sedimentary rock are called as pages of geological history. Pages of geological history books. Pages of geological history book. Is it okay? Pages of geological history books. समझ में आ गया बच्चे पेजेस ऑफ जियोलॉजिकल हिस्ट्री बुक क्यों कहते हैं इसे? Understandable?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's have a classification of these sedimentary rocks. Classification. Classification on the basis of process of lithification. That is cementation. लिथिफिकेशन सीमेंटेशन का क्या मतलब है बच्चे? ये सेडिमेंट्स हैं और ये सेडिमेंट के अंदर कोई ना कोई सीमेंटिंग एजेंट होगा. अब ये सीमेंटिंग एजेंट एक दूसरे से जुड़ के इस रॉक, इस फ्रैगमेंट को क्या बना दे? एक कॉम्पैक्ट स्ट्रक्चर में बदल दे. कॉम्पैक्ट स्ट्रक्चर. उसको प्रोसेस को लिथिफिकेशन कहा जाता है बच्चे, लिथिफिकेशन। और लिथिफिकेशन होता है मिनरल के सीमेंटेशन से, मिनरल के आपस में जुड़ने से। अब लिथिफिकेशन किस कारण से हो रहा, तो इट कैन बी मैकेनिकली फॉर्म्ड और फिजिकली फॉर्म्ड। फिजिकली फॉर्म्ड sedimentary rock, physically formed sedimentary, physically formed sedimentary rock are mechanically formed. Mechanically formed sedimentary rock. इसका मतलब there should be some physical agent. It may be pressure, it may be heat or temperature responsible for lithification. 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 Okay. And here pressure and heat is responsible for lithification. Some examples are, we have, let's say sand is there. So sand is a sediment fragment. When it is pressurized, sand get compacted in form of sandstone. So there is formation of sandstone of different color. It depends upon the size of the sand. So sandstone is a mechanically formed sedimentary rock. Conglomerate. Conglomerate. So there is boulders as well as means pebbles and boulders along with fine sand, and again the pressure is there. This is one. Here conglomerate is second. Third, you can say clay rock. Clay rock, compactation of clay is responsible for lithification of clay, and there is formation of clay rock, and you will find white color of clay rock. White color. Fine sediments, which is what clay and silt gets cemented. Clay rock. We have shell. We have shell. Again, the sedimentary rock. It is what? Brought by alluvium deposit. Alluvium deposit. And alluvium contains sand, silt, and clay all. Sand, silt, and clay. Sand, silt, and clay. Shell बनते हैं बच्चे. And the fifth one is loess. Loess are the fine. Loess rock are the fine sediment deposits brought by wind. Brought by wind. So loess rock, mechanically formed loess rock. And do remember, there is a peculiar feature of loess rock, and that is what? Loess rocks are not stratified. They are not stratified. They are not stratified. Fine. So these are the mechanically formed sedimentary rock. And then we have chemically formed sedimentary rock. Second group is chemically formed. Sedimentary rock. Chemically formed sedimentary rock में क्या होता है बच्चे? Lithification is because of is due to cementation process. Lithification is due to cementation process. lithification is due to chemical reaction. Cementation, lithification को ही कहते हैं बच्चे, पता नहीं कहाँ देखने चला गया. Lithification is due to chemical reaction taking. Chemical reaction taking. Okay, chemically formed sedimentary rock. And the examples are like gypsum. Gypsum. We have limestones, dolomite, थोड़ा सा होल्ड करना बच्चे. हाँ, हम लोग बात कर रहे थे बच्चे केमिकली फॉर्म्ड सेडिमेंट्री रॉक्स की, जहाँ पे लिथिफिकेशन यानी जो सेडिमेंट्स हैं आपस में जुड़ते हैं, वो किस कारण से जुड़ते हैं? देयर इज सर्टेन केमिकल रिएक्शन दैट इन्वॉल्व. ओके, so these chemical reactions involved over here, and the some examples you have like there is limestone, dolomite, we have halides. Halides में आपने नमक खाते होंगे, पिंक सॉल्ट, ब्लैक सॉल्ट, ये सारे किससे बने बच्चे? केमिकली फॉर्म्ड सेडिमेंट्री रॉक है. एंड देन द थर्ड वन इज बायोकेमिकली फॉर्म्ड. Biochemically formed sedimentary rock. That is also called as organically formed sedimentary rock. Okay, so here there is biochemical reaction involved. So there is biological organism that get buried, biological system, living system get buried and get cemented. Okay. And formation of like some limestones, dolomite, also biochemically formed. Dolomites, chemically as well as biochemically, दोनों में गिनते हैं बच्चे. Dolomites, coal, peat, gizerite, chalk. These all are the example of biochemically formed sedimentary rock. So this is one classification. Another classification is on the basis of transporting agent. Classification B. Two, on the basis of transporting agent. On the basis of transporting agent. Okay. So we have first group is argillaceous. Argillaceous. Argillaceous rock or aqueous rock. Aqueous rock. So meaning same हो गया बच्चे. Aqua से बना हुआ है. Argillaceous. It is something brought by sediment, brought by water. Brought by water. अब पानी सेडिमेंट ले तो आया, लेकिन इसने कहाँ डिपॉजिट किया है, उस आधार पे अर्जिलेसियस रॉक या एक्वस रॉक तीन तरह की होती. सो इट मे बी मरीन इन ओरिजिन, मरीन अर्जिलेसियस, riverine argillaceous, or lacustrine argillaceous. Lakes, lacustrine, argillaceous. So there is riverine, marine or lacustrine argillaceous. मरीन का मतलब हो गया ओशन के आसपास बने, शैलो वाटर चाहिए ना बच्चे डिपोजिशन के लिए. रिवराइन along the river bed and lacustrine along the lakes. Okay, so this is what on the basis of erosional agent who is going to bring, or transporting agent who is going to bring the sediment, we have argillaceous, और जिसके तीन सब टाइप देख लिए. दूसरा है बच्चे, it is what Aeolian sedimentary rock. Aeolian sedimentary rock. That means Aeolian sedimentary rock, who is the transporting agent? It is wind. Wind is the transporting agent. And the best example is loess compactation, loess formation. And the third one is glacial sedimentary rock. Glacial sedimentary rock. Glacial sedimentary rock. That means brought by glacier. Glacier is the transportation agent. ग्लेशियर इज द एक्टिव एजेंट ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन इरोजन, जो कहना चाहिए। ठीक है बच्चे। एंड the glacial deposit that become compacted is either it will be till, और जिसको आप टिलाइट्स बोलते हो, टिलाइट्स, or it may be moraine. This is TI, or it will be moraine, moraines. So tills and moraines, it is what? Glaciated sedimentary rocks, glaciated in origin. ठीक है बच्चे। मैं आजकल जयपुर में हूँ, और यहाँ जो ट्रेडिशनल फूड है बाजरे का खिचड़ा, अपने यहाँ खिचड़ी होती है ना, और मीठी खिचड़ी बनाई जाती है यहाँ पे बाजरे की, दैट इज रियली टेस्टी, दूध के साथ। यहाँ की डेलिकेसी है, तो मेरे सामने वही है। तो राजस्थान में है तो आप कोर्स ग्रेन आपको मिलेंगे खाने को, मिलेट्स मिलेंगे, है कि नहीं? क्यों? एरिड और सेमी एरिड रीजन है बच्चे, इसलिए ज्योग्राफी में आपको पढ़ना है, एग्रीकल्चर, है ना? So these are the classification. So let's take up one by one. Some means explanation is needed. Some rocks in your syllabus is there. So let's find out sandstone. Sandstone, as you know, this is mechanically formed sedimentary rock. Sandstone. So it is what? Cementation of sand. Cementation of sand. अच्छा, आज रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन की है कि नहीं भाई? रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन की
ये
है
सर
ना?
ऑन की है।
हुआ है सर।
फिर ठीक है। Cementation of sand. So कभी जब सैंड किसी शैलो वाटर बॉडी में इकट्ठा होने शुरू हो जाए, तो जो ऊपर की सैंड होती है उससे प्रेशर लगने से नीचे की सैंड कॉम्पैक्टेड हो जाती है बच्चे, एंड इट बिकम सैंड स्टोन। सो हियर प्रेशर इज गोइंग टू प्ले इंपॉर्टेंट रोल। प्रेशर मैकेनिकली फॉर्म सेडिमेंट्री रॉक है। अच्छा, सैंड के अलग अलग साइज हो सकते हैं। सो वी हैव डिफरेंट साइज ऑफ सैंड, लाइक when the size is bigger, very coarse sand. First type is very coarse sand, and it is ranging between 1 to 2 millimeter in size. So size in millimeter. So we have very coarse sand, which is ranging the size of 1 to 2 millimeter. Coarse sand, जो इससे थोड़े छोटे होते हैं, and they are of the size 0.5 to 1 millimeter. Then medium sand, and which is of the range 0.25 to 0.5 millimeter. This is the range. The fourth is fine sand. Fine sand, and that is 0.125 to 0.25 millimeter. And very fine sand, the fifth one is very fine sand. So this is what very fine sand, and it is 0.0625 to 0.125 millimeter. So do remember, this very fine sand as well as coarse sand, all are going to form sedimentary rock. But if finer will be the sand, more compact will be the rock. Fine. So this is how the sands are being formed. Sands are being formed, and sandstones are being formed because of deposition of sand, compactation of sand. Further, the color of sandstone, color of sandstone vary vary according to the nature and amount of the nature and amount of cementing element, cementing element and minerals. Fine. It become red or gray when calcium carbonate dominates. When calcium carbonate dominates. No, sorry. When iron oxide, calcium carbonate तो white होगा ना बच्चे. So when red or gray, when iron oxide dominates. Okay. When it become white gray कब होते हैं बच्चे? When calcium carbonate dominates. Calcium carbonate dominates. Sandstone, because of when fine sand, fine and very fine sand get compacted, they give rise to hard and erosion resistant sandstone. Erosion resistant sandstone. Fine. Erosion resistant sandstone. Next one is conglomerate. 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 So there is means cementation of pebbles as well as bigger, what you can say, size fragment. Bigger size fragment get cemented with sand. Get cemented with sand. They give rise to conglomerate. Basically, they are a rounded rock fragment of bigger size. conglomerate of bigger size. It may be pebble, it may be cobble, and even it may be boulder and gravel also. तो ये हो सकते हैं बच्चे gravel, boulders, pebbles, जिससे conglomerate बनते हैं. So the sediment type, the fragment type, and their size. I'm just writing, and if it is boulder, so something which is bigger than 256 millimeter. That means 25.6 centimeter से बड़ा हो तो उसे आप boulders कहते हैं. Then we have cobbles, which is ranging between 256 to 64 millimeter. These are the cobbles. And then we have pebbles, and these pebbles are ranging between 64 to 4 millimeter. And granules, they are ranging between 4 to 2 millimeter. And then there is very coarse sand. You remember sand? इसके बाद फिर sand आते हैं बच्चे, coarse sand, very coarse sand, then medium sand, fine sand, very fine sand, फिर आते हैं silt, और अंत में आता है clay. ठीक है? So this is the variation in the size. So here we can see that cobble, pebble, and granules, they are collectively called as, sand को छोड़ के, they are called as gravel. They are called as gravels. So conglomerate basically form because of these gravels when they get solidified. So when the polished rounded gravel gravels get cemented, we call it conglomerate. This is what basically conglomerate. But when pointed gravel are going to get cemented, it is called as breccia. When pointed gravel get cemented. Okay. So this is what conglomerate. Then we have shell. Shell are, we call it clay rock also. Clay rock. Fine. The difference between shell and clay rock is what? Amount of sand, silt, and clay. Sand, silt, and clay. If silt and clay is going to be more, it is, if sand is more, so it is sandstone. If silt and clay is more, it is shell. If clay is more, it is clay rock. So shell and clay, it is because of compactation or cementation of silt and clay. These are what called as clay rock or shell rock. So if you see the size of silt and clay, it is even smaller. So if we talk about silt is having average size ranging between 0.0312 millimeter to 0.004 millimeter. And when we talk about clay is even smaller. Clay size is ranging from 0.004 millimeter to 0.00012 millimeter. So this is clay, which is the smallest fragment. Fine. When they are cemented and consolidated, they are going to create clay rock or shell. Fine. Clay rock are not soluble. Clay rocks are not soluble. In water. Hence, they are least affected by chemical weathering. Chemical weathering. Hence, they are least affected by chemical weathering. Pure clay rock are white in color. White in color. ठीक है बच्चे. So these are few mechanically formed sedimentary rock. Let's have some chemically formed sedimentary rock like calcareous rock. केमिकली और बायोकेमिकली एक साथ कर लेते हैं बच्चे. केमिकली और बायोकेमिकल. Formed sedimentary rock. So pure chemical reaction is taking place, then chemically formed. But if there is any biological organism involved, and then chemical reaction takes place, so it is biochemically formed sedimentary rock. For example, calcareous rocks. Calcareous rock. So it is either animal skeleton, animal remains, get deposited. Animal remain get deposited. Okay. Animal remain get deposited. Then it is calcareous rocks. For example, limestone. Limestone. We have dolomite. Dolomite. Okay. Limestone. We have dolomite. And how these limestones are formed? Basically, there is calcium oxide. There is calcium which is present in the animal remain that reacts with water and it forms calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide. And this calcium hydroxide, that is what CaOH twice. Calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide. It forms calcium carbon. In the process, water is released. And this calcium carbonate get deposited and it forms limestone. And same occurs in case of magnesium oxide. And here it is forming MgCO3, magnesium carbonate. So we have dolomite. And this calcareous rock is also called as carbonate rocks. Carbonate rocks. Right? And wherever these carbonate rocks are there, जहां कहीं भी होंगे बच्चे, they are readily soluble in water, and they give a peculiar kind of topography that is called as karst topography. So again, this rock will come to you when we discuss the karst topography. A special type of topography you will find. Fine. Organically formed rock are carbonaceous rock. पहला calcareous है, दूसरा है बच्चे carbonaceous. Carbonaceous rock. Okay. So dominated by organic, that is carbonic materials, carbon containing material. Okay, carbon containing material, and it is formed because of burial of vegetation or jungles. Burial of vegetation or jungles, and they get converted into, first the wood get converted into peat get converted into lignite, and lignite to bituminous, and from bituminous to anthracite. So these are the stages of coal formation also. Stages of coal formation. And you will find in each stage, carbon content is increasing. And hence, anthracite is the best quality coal. While peat is the worst coal. In fact, peat is not considered as coal. Lignite is third grade coal. And bituminous, it's a medium kind of coal, second grade coal. While the anthracite is the best. So when the burial of vegetation takes place, it gets lithified, and further it gets petrifaction. That is fossilization. And these jungles were developed in form of cold streams. Coal deposits. Coal deposit. And you know the significance of coal or carbonaceous igneous rock. Sedimentary rock. अगली है बच्चे siliceous rocks. Siliceous sedimentary rock. So as the name suggests, here the dominance of silica can be seen. Dominance of silica. In such rock, there is dominance of silica. They are formed due to aggregation and compactation of. compactation of, remains of sponges, they are animal. Diatoms that are plant. Radiolarians, again the animals. Radiolarians, etc. Okay. Siliceous rock. So diatom deposit that get compacted and that form the siliceous rock. For example, Geyserite. Geyserites are the best siliceous rock. It is white, gray, or pink in color. It may be white, maybe gray, or pink in color. Pink in color. And it is because of impurities over there. Otherwise, Geyserite must be white because it is largely made up of silica. So siliceous sedimentary rock. Okay. The siliceous sedimentary rock. So this is a classification which is based on the type of sediment we have seen. Sorry, the process involved in cementation. Now let's begin the study of different rock, which is based on the agent of erosion. Who is the transporting agent? And in that we have argillaceous. बता दिया था वैसे. Argillaceous igneous rock. Process of erosion में argillaceous igneous rock. Argillaceous sedimentary. बार बार मैं igneous बोल रहा हूँ. गलती से अगर igneous बोलूं तो आप उसे sedimentary ही समझना. Argillaceous sedimentary rock, also called as aqueous. Also called as aqueous. 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 Aqueous sedimentary rock. It is of three types. It is of three types. First one is marine argillaceous sedimentary rock. Marine argillaceous sedimentary rock. Okay. So consolidation of sediment in the ocean or in the littoral zone. So here the compactation of sediment. Compactation of sediment in a shallow ocean. Shallow ocean or in littoral zone. Littoral zone, which is close to the coast. Littoral zone. This is what we call marine argillaceous sedimentary rock. Fine. Marine argillaceous sedimentary rock. And there are many examples. It may be sandstone. Sandstone mechanically formed भी हो सकता है. It can be limestone, biochemically formed. Limestone, dolomites. There may be chalk, गीजराइट, गीजराइट जो सिलिसियस हैं बच्चे, सेडिमेंट्री रॉक, वो तो मोस्ट ऑफ देम मरीन इन ओरिजिन होते हैं. ओके, नेक्स्ट वन इज लैकोस्ट्रीन. लैकोस्ट्रीन, लैकोस्ट्रीन argillaceous sedimentary rock. So when the consolidation takes place, consolidation का मतलब cementation takes place in lake environment, takes place in the lakes, in the lakes. So we call it lacustrine, argillaceous sedimentary rock. Fine. And lacustrine, we can have different types of alluvium. अब लेक में हो सकता है, ये लेक है बच्चे, this is a lake. So this lake certainly contains some river drain. तो river भी यहाँ पे आई होंगी बच्चे. So this lake contain river and it may also contain glacier. दोनों हो सकता है. So in the lacustrine sedimentary rock, we happen to have riverine sedimentary rock as well as glacial sedimentary rock both. तो यहाँ पे आपको clay rock भी मिल सकते हैं, है ना? So you have tillites also, tillites, that is moraines, are colluviums, डिपॉजिट्स मिलेंगे, उसके रॉक बन सकते हैं, और रिवर के भी रॉक्स बन सकते हैं बच्चे. सो यू विल फाइंड क्ले, you will find shell over here. Fine. So these are the rock you will find in the lake environment. So there is a classification. Basically, this classification is done because of different types of fossils. And different types of fossils. In the lake, you expect the fossils, the flora and fauna, which is fresh water as well as saline water. But in marine, you will necessarily going to have saline water, flora as well as. That's why these divisions has been done. The third is in argillaceous. The third is riverine. Riverine, argillaceous. Argillaceous sedimentary rock. And it is water which bring the sediment, and the example we have clay, we have shell, we also have conglomerate, and we can also have sandstone. Okay, so these are the rocks which we will get in the river beds. Alluvial deposit is the reason, and this is what argillaceous. Then we have aeolian sedimentary rock. Aeolian sedimentary rock. Here the lowest deposition takes place. Lowest deposition, है ना बच्चे? यहाँ पे lowest deposition हो रहा है, and due to lowest deposition there is a rock, and you will find this at the terminal position of the deserts. Terminal positions of the desert, we have this lowest. Fine. And the best example is Yellow River, Wang Ho River, which is also called as Yellow River. So you'll find that the Wang Ho River Valley is deposited by Gobi Desert. There is a Gobi Desert. And from Gobi Desert, you will find fine loess blown by wind, and this deposition in the Swangho River making the water yellow in color, and the Swangho River drains in Yellow Sea, making the water yellow over there. So it is because of loess deposition. So in Swangho River Valley, we can find this loess, what you can say, sediment deposition, loess sediment deposition. And do remember, in loess rock, no stratification develops. Layer नहीं बन पाती बच्चे. Okay. So no stratification develops. And the third type is glacial rocks. Glacial sedimentary rock. So we happen to have, let's say, suppose that this is one U-shaped valley through which the glacier is moving. This is what moving glacier down the hill. And there is another glacier which is moving like this. Both are meeting over here. So this is what glacier. Glacier 1, Glacier 2, three-dimensional structure. So it is carving out U-shaped valley. U-shaped valley. As you know that glacier is a three-dimensional structure. So when it moves, it create U-shaped valley. This is a glacier. So जब ये move करता है बच्चे glacier, तो ये रही bedrock. इसको भी यहाँ पे रगड़ मिलती है. And this is the side wall. The side wall is also eroded. So both the side wall get eroded. That's why it forms a U-shaped valley. So here Glacier 1 and Glacier 2 is coming down the hill and meeting over here. And this is what down the hill, when the valley is reaching down the hill. Both the glacier meets over here. So this glacier is actually bringing the sediments, which has certain name. Like here with the side wall, we happen to have rock fragment, colluvium brought by glacier. This is the colluvium brought by Glacier 1 along its side wall. This is called as lateral moraine. Lateral moraine. And this is another glacier which is also bringing some moraine along its side wall. That is what we call lateral moraine. Lateral moraine. Along the side wall, the sediment brought by them is called as lateral moraine. So here it is called as lateral moraine. And when two glaciers meet, they form this mid part, elevated part, that is called as medial moraine. Medial moraines, and when they get compacted, they are going to create sedimentary rock. And ultimately in the valley, the finest of all moraines brought by glacier and deposited here in form of terminal moraine. Terminal moraines. These are also called as stellites. So this is Glacier Valley 1. This is Glacier Valley 2. Here both the glacier is meeting with each other. That is called as confluence. जैसे river में confluence होता है बच्चे, confluence valley. And both the glacier meeting over there, they become bigger glacier and start moving down the hill. And ultimately they are depositing this finest of all sediment in the valley, which is called as terminal moraine. So once the glacier is in valley, there is formation of terminal moraine, which is what the finest of all soil. So in India, especially in Kashmir and Kashmir Valley, in Kishtwar Valley, in Bhadrava Valley, these are the area where you will find moraines deposits, and these fine moraine deposits are called as Kareva formation, Kareva soil. This Kareva soil is famous for saffron cultivation. तो सॉइल अपर लेयर पे जो है वो सॉइल है, नीचे जो कंपैक्ट हो गया वो क्या होगा बच्चे? दैट विल बी मोरेन रॉक. Moraine rock. Is it fine? So these are the sedimentary rock, different types of sedimentary rock we have discussed. Different types of sedimentary rock. So on the very basis of process of compactation or cementation, and on the very basis of agent of transportation, these are different types of sedimentary rock. इसके बाद है बच्चे मेटामॉर्फिक रॉक. तो मेटामॉर्फिक रॉक को बाद में करते हैं. अच्छा, थक गया हूं मैं. मेटामॉर्फिक रॉक, और कल हम लोग नहीं मिल रहे हैं, बट वी आर मीटिंग ऑन संडे एट द सेम टाइम. बच्चे संडे को भी क्लास होगी आपकी 9 बजे से रखा जाए 9:15. हेलो,
50.
आवाज नहीं आई बेटे?
Sir, 9:15, sir.
9:15 ठीक है बेटे. 9:15 9:15 ओके, ठीक है. 9:15 फिर 9:15 ही टाइम मान लेते हैं रोज का. तो कल नहीं मिलते हम लोग, फिर संडे को मिलते हैं बच्चे, एंड वी विल सी द टॉपिक. फाइन.
Sir,
तो हाँ बेटे बताए.
sir, what is pointed gravel?
व्हाट इज
Pointed gravel.
पॉइंट?
Pointed.
एक बार आप लिख के बताएंगे बेटे?
हाँ sir.
सेंड मी योर मैसेज, आई एम जस्ट वाचिंग. आई एम वेटिंग फॉर योर मैसेज. Pointed gravel, okay. Pointed gravel. बेसिकली जब वो राउंडेड हो गया था तो आप उसको क्या कह रहे थे? सिंपल ग्रेवल कह रहे थे. लेकिन जब वो राउंडेड ना हो करके पॉइंटेड हो, है ना, तो उसको आप क्या कहेंगे? पॉइंटेड ग्रेवल. इट्स नॉट पॉलिश्ड. सो व्हेन दिस simple gravel is going to be the part of conglomerate. So conglomerate look like this. ये रॉक होगी बच्चे, और इसमें conglomerates इस तरह से बीच बीच में studded दिखाई पड़ेंगे. So this is what the structure of conglomerates. And what about this? When these gravels are there, so they will look like this, है ना? So the rock will look like this. So the pointed gravel get cemented with each other. So the rock surface is not going to be smooth. That is what we call breccia. Breccia. Basically, breccia formation ज्यादातर igneous rock में होता है, वो भी तब जब कोई massive eruption हुआ हो, volcanic eruption, जिसमें मैग्मा ऊपर गया हो और नीचे आया हो, जिससे रास्ते में ही मैग्मा सॉलिडिफाई हो गया, सॉलिडिफाइड। ठीक है बच्चे, सॉलिडिफाइड मैग्मा हो सकता है वो राउंडेड लैपिली शेप में हो या फिर डैगर शेप में। डैगर शेप को स्कोरिया कहते हैं और इसको लैपिली कहते हैं। तो लैपिली जब बनाती है igneous rock, so it looks like this, and when scoria is embedded in igneous rock, it is called as breccia. So basically breccia और ये लैपिली, दे आर द फॉर्म ऑफ igneous rock। लेकिन जब ग्रेवल पॉइंटेड हो और वो सीमेंटेड हो जाए, सीमेंटेशन होगा तो सेडिमेंट्री रॉक का तो पता चलेगा ना बच्चा। यहाँ तो वो igneous रॉक थी, लेकिन जब सीमेंटेड हो जाए तो भी उसको ब्रेसिया ही कहते हैं, but it is breccia sedimentary in origin, sedimentary in origin, and this breccia is volcanic in origin, volcanic in origin। ये सारी चीजें जियोलॉजी की हैं। आपके ज्योग्राफी में थोड़ा सा हमें कम जियोलॉजी की चीजों को रखना है, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम नॉट पुटिंग सो मच ऑफ एफर्ट। अदरवाइज एक एक रॉक पे एक एक दिन की क्लास हो जाएगी, है ना। आपको क्या लगता है कि ये जो आपको बताया मैंने गिजराइट, 3 कलर के बताए, क्या इतना आसानी से आप जियोलॉजी में छूट जाएंगे क्या? तो उसमें कॉम्बिनेशंस होते हैं डिफरेंट, जो एलिमेंट्स हैं उनके, उसके आधार पे देर इज डिफरेंट कलर। सो दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ जियोलॉजी विच इज नॉट एट ऑल इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर योर ज्योग्राफी पार्ट, है ना। ज्योग्राफी में इतना बहुत है, आप अगर जान रहे हैं, बिकॉज आपको तो ऊपर की बातचीत करनी है ना। व्हाट इज अबव लिथोस्फियर? इज इट फाइन?
Yes, sir.
ओके, शैल आई साइन आउट?
सर, आपने जो लेक्चर 9 रॉक वाला वीडियो अपलोड किया था, वो ना एक्चुअली सोलर सिस्टम अर्थ वाला वीडियो है।
कौन सा वाला किया था?
लास्ट डे जो लेक्चर 9 रॉक बोल के एक आपने वीडियो अपलोड किया था यूट्यूब पे,
हाँ,
वो एक्चुअली सोलर सिस्टम अर्थ वो वाला वीडियो था।
ऐसा हो गया है क्या?
हाँ
ओके, मैं देख लेता हूँ।
हाँ हाँ।
वो लग
ठीक।
रहा है जल्दी में वही दोबारा अपलोड कर दिया क्या?
हाँ
हाँ,
शायद।
sir.
ओह, चलो मैं देखता हूँ, मैं देखता हूँ बेटे।
ओके।
ओके।